presented by Edge Radio.
Hello and welcome to Media Show on Edge Radio 99.3 FM.
I'm Lochie and we've got Qom here, right in the studio.
How is everyone doing? Today we be doing a little catch-up episode. Last week we did the greatest episode that ever existed.
But the only problem was, me being a silly fool that I was, did not turn the microphones on air.
So now that episode's out in the void somewhere, we talked about me going to the Cayman Islands with Mel Gibson, talked about Lochie featuring on the new Dune movie, but that's a story for another time.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories that I have to tell on the Hollywood side of that.
Absolutely. So today we will be doing a review of the show Nirvana, the band, the show. That's all one thing.
Yes, it is one thing. It is one long title, and despite the long title, it actually is not contrasted to what you may believe it is.
It's got nothing to do with Nirvana, essentially. Apart from they're a band called Nirvana, the band, and sometimes people get them mixed up.
Yeah, because I got the idea that was supposed to be the case, and as soon as I went into it, I'm like, okay, this is definitely supposed to be like a spoof show or something.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a Borat style show where they go out and they film in public. They've got a script and a plot, but as they get interactions from the public, it changes along the way.
Either when it comes to script or their perspectives or the perspective of the public.
Absolutely.
Which is a concept that to some people may have already been done to death because of Borat popularized it, but I think it's still a nice change of comedy every now and then.
Yeah, these guys, it's a little bit of a different take. They're not as outlandish as Borat. I would just say it's if improv was a show, they're improvising every scene on the fly.
Yeah, it kind of almost is if improvising were the whole sole focus of the show, which kind of makes more sense to me now that I look back at the episodes in that light. It's interesting.
Absolutely. So the plot, the overall plot is they're a band called Nirvana, the band, and they're trying to get a show at the famous Rivoli, which is a bar/restaurant in Canada. And every episode they come up with a different scheme and a different plan, and they all essentially fail. It's run for 2 seasons. They have filmed a third one, but sadly Vice Canada shut down, so that is also in the void somewhere. We're not sure if we will ever see this season. They keep talking about bringing it to Netflix or some other publishers, but
yeah, I was just about to ask you that. They were about to consider putting it on another streaming service like Netflix, since the fact that Vice Canada was cancelled.
yeah, there's many interviews where they say we're working on finding a publisher for this show, but I think that was 2 years ago, and they've been talking about it ever since. So hopefully we see it resurrected.
Yeah, well, just hopefully before it's too late, let's just say.
Absolutely. Yeah, we don't want people to forget about this little niche genre. It's a brilliant show. It's well worth watching.
Yeah, I would consider Something Saying to worth watch the time as well, because yeah, the first episode, it really caught me off guard where things were leading up to. But by the time the payoff came around, I completely understood why Qom insisted I should watch this show.
Absolutely. I find it very unique compared to every other TV show. It's well worth the watch. You've liked it so far, Lochie? Is there any glorious moments or glorious episodes?
One that I can think personally back is the episode where they try to focus on the Star Wars Disney sequel movies, particularly Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. But that was before those 2 movies even came out. This was just like the time when like The Force Awakens was big everywhere, and everybody was looking for someone or something Star Wars related, brand new to the table.
Yeah, it's as well as being this kind of improv show. Every episode is almost a spin-off in the style and the themes. They'll have one episode that feels like a sitcom, one feels like a Disney action. Um, I think the episode you're talking about, they have this brilliant fight scene at the end.
Yeah, that's really caught me off guard, and I couldn't help but a little bit chuckle a bit.
Yeah, and it's funnier that the whole show isn't an action, but they'll have this 5-minute amazing fight scene.
Yeah, fully choreographed and all. And mind you, the character of one of the characters of the show is dressed up like who was it? Charlie Cox's Daredevil?
Yeah, Daredevil.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's just pretty. It throws you off guard every episode. Essentially, you think you get used to the rhythm, and then bam, it's a sitcom all of a sudden.
Or the next minute, it could be like a holiday special episode that could not even be the center focus of the episode.
Yeah, they do like a Simpsons House of Horrors for an episode. Everyone is just.
Oh, I'll need to watch that one. That sounds good.
Yeah, absolutely. So you highly recommend it then, Lochie?
Well, I would recommend it to those who like to watch the unexpected for laughs, because that's kind of the show that I have now sort of looked it upon. Excuse me.
Yeah, I think if you're a huge fan of like the movies and show and just pop culture in general, you really enjoy it. They have all these connections to other things. It really just works, I think. So hopefully we do get a third season.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Absolutely. So go check it out. We can all get this show back, rise from the ashes like a phoenix.
And as far as looking it up and finding the streaming services on the show, we're actually not sure. We're not sure. Excuse my vocabulary, but we're not exactly sure of how to actually access the show, or at least as far as I know. You don't know. Am I right?
I think that's the issue, because Vice has really cut most of their stuff online, so it's hard to get. I did find Archive, the National Archive, I guess, in America has it, archive.org.
Oh, yeah.
So you just type in Nirvana, the band, the show, and you'll be able to find it there, all the episodes. They have some extended stuff and deleted scenes as well.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, hopefully it gets picked up, and we'll all be able to enjoy it. But we'll go on a short ad break now, and we'll be right back. You're listening to a Media Shower on Edge Radio 99.3 FM.
And we are back with Media Shower with your hosts of the most, Lochie and Qom. We were just talking about Nevada, the band, the show, despite its long title. And you would recommend it, of course.
I think it's definitely unique. I think most people will enjoy it if you're into that sort of improv comedy type show with people man on the street almost. And I think it's pretty brilliant. Honestly, it's a art form in itself. Now we'll be talking about, though, the old Cleveland show. We'll be time traveling back. Beautiful. Back to, I'm not even sure when, 2017, I think, when it ended.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, I would have thought it'd been earlier than that, but okay.
Well, they got the 4 seasons out of it.
No, they got 4 seasons.
Would you like to give us a recap, Lochie, on the plot? What is this show?
Well, the Cleveland show, to an extent, can be summarized in a way of...
It's essentially a spin-off of Family Guy. The character Cleveland Browdy ventures out.
Well, that technically is the basis of it. It's just got a lot more in-depth that kind of has done some wrong, some a little bit of good here and there, but mostly just a lot of things that did not seem well with really old school fans of Cleveland Brown in particular. And I can personally understand that 100%. Because I truly believe that the show was a character assassination of Cleveland Brown.
It's a little bit like that. It feels like they've since assassinated. They're trying to erase it from history. Since it ended.
Oh, well, after it got cancelled, they just do anything to make sure that they try to make you forget about it.
Yeah.
As soon as he came back, Quagmire was something like, "Wait, don't you have a show you need to go back?" Oh, that's right.
It's they've killed off, I think, probably half the characters from that show, or they just go missing or a background now. Really.
I'm probably thinking Roberta, Rilo, to an extent Cleveland Brown Jr., but he shows up every now and then.
Yeah, they've remade appearances, but far and few between. So overall, Lochie, did you like the show or you don't like the show? What do you think?
Well, there are some bits that I can appreciate and did like to some extent, but unfortunately, the negatives mainly outweigh the positives, which is something I do try to, well, let's be honest here, ignore it on a daily basis, but it's still something that I can't help but find into discussion.
I think I tend to agree. I think I had the feeling that a lot of it was almost just the offcuts of Family Guy. Is that
almost as if like they were written specifically for Family Guy, like you mentioned, and they were instead used for the Cleveland show.
Yeah, they almost thought, oh,
it's not good enough for Family Guy.
They stuck him in a drawer somewhere, and every time they needed a joke, they just ran over to the drawer and pulled out some old Family Guy joke they never used. I don't mind it. It's bearable. I think I'm probably the same as you. There's a lot of things I don't like, but yeah, they've also got some episodes or just particular scenes that I think are good. It's a good background show, I think, but it's nothing unique or special.
Maybe something you feel like White Noise, but other than that, I would mainly recommend other things for White Noise.
Yeah, I think. Why do you think? I'll ask you first. Why do you think it did fail? Do you think it just wasn't funny enough, or?
That is a very hard question, that particular one, because that question is always going to be subjugated to anybody and the industry itself, right?
Yeah, it had a very successful first season. It was about 6 million views, and then it slowly dropped off, got it to about 1, I think.
I mean, I personally myself have not seen any of the future seasons of the Cleveland show, so I'm only describing my experience of the first season as a whole.
Yeah, I understand.
So I do have to keep that in mind here, folks.
Yeah. I also think, what do you think when you compare it to Family Guy and American Dad, you'd agree that it's the worst of the three, yes?
I personally have not seen enough of American Dad to give off that specific comment, but I can prove that Family Guy is obviously the better counterpart, and American Dad has its benefits when it comes to not having what Family Guy likes to call cutaway gags.
Yeah.
Like, the only time I think they've ever done this was the pilot episode, and even then they decided, no, this does not work for American Dad, stop this immediately. And so my question to that is, why not that same thought process for the Cleveland show?
Yeah, I'm not sure, honestly. It does feel like a rip-off of Family Guy in many ways. You have this family dynamic. You have Cleveland and his group of drunk friends.
You've got Lester, for less of a better word, a redneck, if you will.
Yeah, I think on the face of it, it's a rip-off, but the characters, if you get a bit more in depth, are a little different. But your initial thing is, oh, this is just Family Guy in Cleveland.
Then you've got Holt, who is the equivalent of the Joe Swanson of the group. Mainly the fact that they make fun of him because he's a little man, which is not that funny at all, if I have to be honest.
Yeah.
And then finally, to add all suspense of all things, they changed the group by having a black bear.
Yeah, that's it. You've got a bear instead of a dog.
Yep,
It's
a bear. That's the big change here, folks. That's the biggest one of them all. We got a bear. You thought you wanted a jokey bear? Well, we got a bear on our show too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we agree. It's okay for background noise, but I think there's this oversaturation with the other two shows. They're just better. And I think that probably was, if the Cleveland show ran by itself with these other ones, it might be more successful. But this oversaturation just means you have something to constantly compare it to, something that's better, and you would just rather go watch Family Guy instead of the Cleveland show.
And I've noticed the creative team behind the Cleveland show is not only, of course, Seth MacFarlane, but Cleveland Browns voice actor Mike Henry, I believe his name is.
Yep.
And then you've got another guy, I can't exactly remember his name off the top of my head, but they're mainly the three big people of the creative team, from what I found out when I looked through the credits.
Okay.
So I believe those three mainly have a majority of what they could have done with the Cleveland show, and I think maybe with a bit of a more open cart, or I guess staff, then maybe they could have done it differently. But
yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
We're not filmmakers or animators.
Not yet, anyway.
No.
All right, we're going to wrap up this episode of Media Shower on Edge Radio 99.3 FM.